Welcome back. You're still listening to Salam Media right here on Salam Media. Be part of the conversation. Give us a call if you have any comments, any suggestions, anything, any contribution you want to make to the show. Our studio line is 011-680-0355, or send us a WhatsApp on 061-766-0355. Twitter, follow us at Salam Media. The show's hashtag is hashtag news and views. Facebook is www.facebook.com/Salam Media. And you can listen live on www.salammedia.com/listen live dash live. The time is 11 minutes past 8, and we'll be throwing our eyes to the Middle East, in Palestine specifically, in Khan Younis, where I think, we've all seen it in the news, where there's been major besiegement and bombardment that is currently happening in that part of the world. And here at Salam Media, we're committed to not stopping talking about Palestine, talking about the incredible hardship and the incredible difficulties that the people of Palestine are currently facing on the hands of Israel and its armed forces, killing thousands and continue to enslave many of our sisters and brothers in that part of the world. We couldn't get anyone in Khan Younis. There's a blockade. The communication has been cut off. We can't talk to anyone. No one is responding to our messages. So the closest person we could have gotten who's in that part of the world is a Palestine-based journalist, Osama Nazzal. He's in Jenin. Good morning, Osama. Thank you so much for giving us your time during these difficult times, and welcome to Salam Media.
Good morning, bro, and good morning to our listeners and viewers.
I think let's jump right into it. If you can, I know you are not in Jenin, but as I mentioned, you're the closest person from there that we could have gotten, and could give us maybe a secondary or a tertiary account of what's happening in that part of the world right now. If you can paint a picture for us from what you've heard and what you've seen, what is currently happening in Jenin, and what are the people going through?
Yeah, really, the Israeli genocide campaign is still going on, and it is now at its peak in the Gaza Strip. And the situation in Jenin, which is a city in the northern occupied West Bank, is not much different. But I think that Israel is using a different method of genocide here in the West Bank. As every night, large Israeli military forces invade into the Palestinian cities, refugee camps, and towns. They break into the Palestinian families' houses. They detain a number of young people. They attack the people, facilities, and institutions. And of course, injuring and killing has become a norm and a feature of the Israeli occupation landscape in the occupied Palestinian territory. Just last night, an Israeli soldier opened fire at a Palestinian young man at one of the Israeli checkpoints erected at the entrances of the Palestinian towns. It's called Annab in the north of the West Bank, Annab checkpoint, and killed a Palestinian young man while he was driving through that checkpoint. Israeli settlers, of course, who are armed and protected by the Israeli occupation forces, continue their attacks on the Palestinian villages here in the occupied West Bank. They burn Palestinian facilities, they uproot Palestinian trees, and they cause every damage possible to the Palestinian properties and to the Palestinian life. That is the general situation of the Palestinians' life under Israeli occupation in the West Bank, while in the Gaza Strip it is much worse, as the Israeli warplanes and the Israeli tanks never stop bombarding our people in Gaza around the clock.
Mm, mm. We know that the Israeli military, every time when they commit this genocidal acts, they always claim that that place, or that specific place that they're bombing, is a Hamas stronghold. And this is a myth that has been debunked so many times, by journalists like yourselves. You are 155 kilometers away from Jenin. From Khan Younis. You are in Jenin yourself. I'm sure you've been to Khan Younis. I'm sure you've experienced what it's like there before the bombardment. First-hand account, is it a Hamas stronghold? Would you say that, or this is just an excuse for the Israeli forces to further, their campaign to extract the people of Khan Younis from that area and to further, continue with the exercise of genocide?
Yeah. First of all, it may sound weird, my brother, that okay, I'm living in the occupied Palestinian territory, I'm living in Jenin, and there is no difference between the West Bank and Gaza. They are all occupied by the Israeli occupation. But what sounds weird that I have never been to Gaza. Why? Because Gaza has been under the Israeli siege for decades, and as a Palestinian, you have no access, even if you have a family, even if you have a friends in Gaza, without having a permission from the Israeli occupation forces. And this is stark evidence that Gaza has never been freed from the Israeli grip and the Israeli occupation control. All the exits and all the entries of Gaza have been under the control of the Israeli occupation before the war, years before the war. Since 2006, Gaza has been under a tightened siege. And this is the context, really, where the conflict escalated and the war started. Concerning that I'm close to Gaza, I think it is a matter of hearts and a matter of souls. The people of South Africa are also the closest to the people in Gaza, and going to the ICJ and filing a case against the Israeli genocide is an evidence of your closeness and your loyalty and your love for your Palestinian brothers. The situation in Gaza is, it can't be imagined. It can't be described by words. People are dying all the time. People are starving all the time. People are running out of water. People are running out of bread. There is no wheat. There is nothing. They are talking about some humanitarian aid. But this aid is not more than a drop in an ocean, really. It does not suffice the people in Gaza, and it does not go to the people in the northern part of the Gaza Strip. Gaza, 70% of its victims, its martyrs, are women and children. And now we are talking about 26,000 Palestinians killed since the start of this genocidal act. We are talking about 65,000 Palestinians injured, and thousands of them are in a very critical condition. We are talking about 1.3 million Palestinians homeless, displaced from their houses and from their neighborhoods. And they are all gathering in the concentration camp, which is the city of Rafah, the absorption capacity of which is for a quarter million, 250,000 people. Now, 1.3 million are living in the tent city. They call it the tent city because they are living in tents made of plastic and light materials that don't defend the women and the children and the elderly against the cold winter that we have today in Palestine. It is a real catastrophe. It is a catastrophe that reflects the callous heart of the world, of the international governments, the people who refuse to say to Israel, enough is enough. Some Palestinians in Gaza who got injured and they don't have access to hospitals and to clinics, the doctors, those who have relative doctors, amputated their limbs in the houses with the kitchen knife. You imagine that? Many stories like that. But a lot of these stories are not heard of because of the media blackout and because Israel does not allow any foreign journalist into the Gaza Strip. This is the situation. It is really hell on earth. People are dying every second and every minute. unimaginable, more than an earthquake, more than a natural disaster. It is an Israeli made disaster, but it is live streamed, and people are doing nothing to save
Mm,
Gaza.
mm. And I think what's really concerning for me, Brother Nazir, is that the city of Khan Younis was initially designated as a safe zone for displaced Palestinians when the attack. I wouldn't say war because a war means it's equal footing ground between two opposing sides. When this bombardment and siege started last year, the city of Khan Younis was said to be a safe zone. So what happens now? Where do the people go when what was considered a safe zone is now essentially obliterated?
You know that the Israeli occupation government has a plan at the first day of its genocidal campaign against the Palestinians. This plan, or the core item of this plan, is to uproot the Palestinian people from the Gaza Strip and throw them away into the Sinai Desert or any place. And just 2 days ago, one of the Israeli ministers said in Brussels that the world can establish an artificial island in the Mediterranean for the Palestinians of the Gaza Strip. So this is the plan that Israel has been working on. So they deceived and they cheated the citizens by telling them that, okay, you can leave the north of Gaza into Khan Yunis and the southern part in search for safety and to, save yourselves and save your children. When the people got concentrated in the south, Israel started one of the fiercest military campaigns against southern Gaza, mainly the city of Khan Yunis and the refugee camp of Khan Yunis, where tons of thousands of bombs are dropped over the heads of the people every day. And it is targeting the clinical centers, the health centers, and the hospitals in the city of Khan Yunis in order to keep the people moving towards the you know southmost, like to Rafah, which is on the
Mm,
Egyptian border. And we just heard yesterday and the days before from the Israeli occupation prime minister and the war minister saying that they are going to hit Rafah and occupy the Philadelphia corridor, which is a corridor between the Palestinian territory and Egypt. So they are targeting every inch, every centimeter of Gaza, because this is their plan to take the Palestinians out of their homeland.
mm, mm. Usually when we speak about Palestine, I think if there's one thing that we forget, when we quote the numbers and, just saying people and you know, people that have been killed and people that have been displaced by the Israeli occupation forces, we forget that these are actual human beings behind all those numbers. I want us, if you can, and if maybe you do have an idea. Um, okay, we just lost brother. Okay, you back. I think if you can, and if you do have an idea, just share with us the sense of spirit amongst the people of Palestine. This besiegement and these attacks have been going on for such a long time.
Yeah.
What are you sensing? Is there a sense of still having that belief to fight and to continue with the activism and to continue saying Palestine is our home and we'll fight for it? Or are you sensing a sense of maybe feeling a bit dejected and tired and feeling like we we might be at the end of the road? What's the sense you're getting? If you can paint a picture for us, what are the people of Palestine saying and how are they feeling?
Yeah. The Palestinian people fight for justice and freedom has not started on the 7th of October. We are talking about the Palestinian struggle since the creation of the colonial power of Israel in 1948, when the Palestinian people suffered the Nakba. At that point, the Palestinians started their revolution and their struggle. So we are talking about a 75-year struggle uh, of all the people of Palestine, whether in the occupied territory or in the diaspora, in Lebanon, in Syria, in Jordan. You know of the history of the Palestinian revolution and the Palestinian fight against the Israeli colonial power for justice, for freedom, for statehood, and for dignified life, which the Palestinians are entitled to just as any other people on this planet are entitled to. So we are talking about a high spirit, but at the same time, and as our poet Mahmoud Darwish said, that the Palestinians are looking for a normal life, neither heroes nor victims. We don't want to be heroes as Palestinians, but at the same time, we don't want to be victims. We want to have a normally human life where our children can go to the kindergartens and to the schools in security and peace, where our children can go on picnic, where our children can go and play in the football playground, in the parks, without having fear that an Israeli warplane could bombard and kill them and come back to you mutilated and cut into pieces, just like what we have today in the Gaza Strip, as the people, the Palestinians in Gaza Strip, are picking the parts of the bodies of their children who are turned into pieces by the Israeli rockets and the Israeli bombs. The spirits are high, because it, this is the Palestinian ideology and the Palestinian line of life that without the freedom, without justice, without liberation, without Palestine for the Palestinians, there is no normal life at all. But at the same time, we as Palestinians love life. We need to have, like other countries, our own seaport, our own airport. And as I told you from the beginning, I'm a Palestinian and I can't go to Gaza because Israel does not give me a permission to go there. Now I'm about a few kilometers away from the city of Jerusalem, and I can't go to Jerusalem. You can't go either to Al Aqsa Mosque or to the church of Sepulchre. Why? Because you need a permission, as all the entries and exits of our cities are under the control of the Israeli occupation. All that we need and all that we ask for is removing these barriers and these obstacles by removing the Israeli occupation. And this is not a gift or a donation from the world or any international body. This is uh, because of the sacrifices of the Palestinian people, because of the fight of the Palestinian people. And the Palestinian people are determined and sure that one day Israel will be forced to end its occupation and the Palestinian people will enjoy their freedom and their independence.
Hmm. No, thank you so much, Brother Osama Nazzal, for giving us your time during these difficult times. Here in South Africa, as always, we'll continue preaching activism for the people of Palestine and continue speaking out against the Israeli occupation forces. But thank you so much, and we hope to talk to you soon. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, there you have it. Really, really difficult and horrific picture that Osama Nazzal is painting for us there. And this made me think. This is something that has been going through my mind for quite some time. South Africa is going through the polls, right? And as South Africans, we've unequivocally said we support Palestine. We showed that when our legal team went to the ICJ and presented that genocidal case. But we're going to the elections, in a few months' time, and I had this conversation with some of my colleagues about what do you do as a South African when, let's say, you stay in a municipality, you stay in a city, or you stay in a ward that is ran by a pro-Israeli party, a pro-Israeli party that has unequivocally said, they support Israel, but they're running things smoothly. Your your electricity is always on, water is always on, potholes are being filled up on time. Every time you call your mayor or any of your councillors, they're always ready to pick up the phone and talk to you. But the party that they represent is pro-Israel. I know, to some this might sound like a silly question, because we always say, when it comes to Palestine, it's a non-negotiable when it comes to political parties and who we support. We always say, if you don't support Palestine, then we won't vote for you. But we have seen in a lot of areas that are, where the demographics are really people that support Palestine, unequivocally so. But then you find um, the political parties running those wards and those cities and those municipalities are parties that are pro-Israel. So what do you do in that regard? We've seen it happen lots of times where certain political parties that are pro-Israel have won, wards, and they've won, cities and municipalities in areas where the majority of people that are there are people that are supporting Palestine and that are vocal and active, when it comes to activism with Palestine. So give me a call. What do you do? Do you, change how you vote? Or do you say, the things are running smoothly where I'm staying and I'm going to continue with this party, although I'm going to be vocal and hope that they change their stance when it comes to Israel and, support Palestine a bit more? What do you do? Give me a call, 061 766 0355. That's our WhatsApp line, and our studio line 011 680 While you ponder on that, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll be talking to Itani Rasalanavo. We're still sticking with the theme of Palestine. As I mentioned before, we won't stop talking about Palestine here on Salam Media. And one person that's putting action into, his words into action is Itani. He's going to be taking a long walk for Gaza. We'll be raising funds for medical care for the children of Gaza. We're going to be taking a quick break, and when we come back, we'll be talking to Istani. Stay tuned to Salam Media.